In a world full of rush, pause for a drink. Pure, clear, and fresh. Let your mind think. In every sip of 1 alkaline, you'll find a taste so pure, refreshes the mind. With a 9.5 pH, it's balanced just right. Electrolytes to keep you bright. Potassium fuels your everyday, keeps you glowing in every way. Drink water and mind your business until it's time to stand on it. 1 alkaline, the water that keeps you glowing. Let's glow.
Grace and peace to all, peace and love, peace and love. It is Pastor Ben back with another Wednesday wisdom, and I apologize for being gone so long. Was doing some traveling, doing some other things. Had a lot of life going on, but I said I got to come on Wednesday just to stay connected with everybody. So hope everybody is safe. I know we've had a lot going on with the weather, and we're in the midst of bad storms right now where I am in Greensboro, the Triad area. We had a tornado that touched the nearby area and some flooding over the weekend. And I know we all are aware of what's been happening in Texas, and we'll give a brief update in that. So I just pray all are safe, and I just thank you for those that are coming in, joining us. Instagram. Oh, I see Sydney Anderson. What's up? Good to see you. And those on YouTube and Facebook. I can't tell how many on Facebook, but I hope everybody's joining. But once again, I just want to just say peace and love and be safe. And I know we haven't done a show in a while on Saturdays, but we will be back this Saturday morning. I promise, with something. And I won't be before you long tonight because there's a lot going on with this weather. So welcome in. We're going to do a brief pause and get started. All right. It's Pastor Ben back with another Wednesday wisdom. And usually we like to take this time to highlight some things going on, or usually sometimes we present individuals that are doing various things in the community, or entrepreneurs that are promoting some of their products and resources. But as always, we want to be a resource. But I want to do this as we're getting started, and I want to just give you an update on a big show that's coming in a couple of weeks. Let me see if I can get my technology right. But in 2 weeks, on July 23rd, and y'all know Pastor Ben is hip hop. I am hip hop. I don't know what my gospel of hip hop is, but you know, I grew up in that era. I'm hip hop. Now, let me say, from about 2003 on back. A lot of stuff today, I got to familiarize myself, but you know, I am hip hop. But in honor of that, on July 23rd, let me go to my presentations. We will have none other. Let me make this big. Should I make that big? Make sure you see it. We will have Technician the DJ on July 23rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, on the Wednesday Wisdom edition of Live from the Resource Center podcast. And if you don't know, you better know. Technician is the DJ straight from the Bronx, New York, is the DJ for Rakim. He's the DJ for Ghostface. He's DJ for Fat Joe, Raekwon, the chef, and many more. He's on Rock the Bells Radio with LL Cool J. And you might remember him from the infamous line that Jadakiss said when he said, "Technician, let's make something happen." He was the DJ for the Lox during their versus battle with Dipset. He was also the DJ for Fat Joe in his versus battle with Ja Rule, and he also was the DJ with Raekwon and Ghostface did their versus battle. So we will have him on in 2 weeks. So shout out to Technician, the DJ. Got to do that for my hip hop heads. And he'll be on in 2 weeks. And shout out to Brother Malcolm Teasdale as well. So let me get that out the way. All right. So I want to brief you on that. No major events coming up, but I do want to speak briefly to an event that took place yesterday here in Greensboro yesterday evening that I went in support of. So, the gun violence has been on a rise. And then over the weekend, during the Fun Fourth event downtown, there was a shooting that took place. 2 individuals, I believe, were shot and injured. I don't have updates. I'm not going to get too deep into that part. But we know it was a tragic incident because that is a big family event for the city of Greensboro. And there were a lot of families there, and people around the city and people that come from different areas near Greensboro to come and celebrate, and have a good time. So it was a tragic event. And I saw posts from the news. I saw posts on social media from people I knew. And it was just a difficult situation. But yesterday, in response to that, the city of Greensboro, along with several groups in their community circle, will say, pardon my dog. My dog gets a little nervous with storms. It's one of my dogs. Held a rally in Center City Park to renounce violence. If you follow me on Facebook, you might have seen some of the live video I posted up there. Shout out to Brother Mackey, Will McKee, who was there along with me. But it was a beautiful event that took place. And it was just great to see because you had various groups that are doing great work in the community, along with the city of Greensboro. You had the police department that was there. And it was just a great response because, you hate these things happen, and sometimes it's these things that bring us together. But nevertheless, it was a pure sentiment to say we've got to do something. And it was also an opportunity to present for those who may not know of particular groups or certain individuals that's doing things, that now they have this resource, or they know where to go to find these resources, so we can continue to expand that network, so we can reach more people to try to put an end to this, because we've seen a rise in violence in our area, especially in Guilford County, with Greensboro, High Point. So it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge with gun violence, and so I'm hoping that this will drive even more people to get involved in their communities, in their immediate communities. Just to do more things. And shout out to those individuals who helped to host that rally and put it on. It was a very quick response and was very well done. So shout out to them, and truly thankful for the work they're doing. So with that, I'm gonna put on my pastor's hat, because that was my hip hop and community event hat. But now step into my pastor's role real briefly, because like I say, I'm not going to be here before you long. But something that came to my mind in the midst of it, and it's just, I don't really believe in coincidence. I think everything happens for a reason, for a purpose, right? But it was just interesting, the timing. I just was reading this, and then or the thought came to me about a particular portion of scripture, and then when we see the rain and flooding and everything that's going on, and that was Genesis chapter 6. Now, primarily the focus was going to be on the reason why. Well, let me say this for those that may not know. I know everybody's not a biblical scholar. I'm definitely not one either. But Genesis 6 is where we see the preparation for the flood, as Noah finds grace with God, and now he's about to make it rain for 40 days and 40 nights because of his displeasure. And I'll read a couple verses of that. But it wasn't really about the whole scene. I wanted to really kind of focus on that reason why there was. But I want to say this, which may be in the context, maybe not. If not, y'all let me know, because I want to stay true to your view. But and please get in the chat. Let me know. Let me know you're here. But in the context, and let me just give a brief update, because as you know, I saw a recent report from ABC that I know they're saying at least more than 100 people have died in the flooding in Texas. And we know about that in North Carolina because, the western part of the state is still recovering from flooding and everything. And they've been strong. So we know how these things can be impactful to all. So I know they said 95 dead in Kerr County, Texas, and they believe more than 119 or about 119 are dead. And then they said about 173 people are missing. So, in your prayers and meditations and breathing, whatever you may do, your Qigong, Tai Chi, please keep those in mind who are suffering loss and damages. Like I said, we had some flooding here in North Carolina. So please just lift up those people. But I want to say this, and there's a time we look at, all the it's like we've gone from heat wave to flood, back to heat wave to flood, and we've just had this big rainy season of recent, along with some major heat. I know in our area, but I think of it like this: sometimes Mother Earth is in need of cleansing herself, right? And there's a cleansing that has to take place. And when we look around the world, and I don't want to get into any Armageddon or end times, because I know people might see this and be like, "Oh, you're talking end time stuff." But there's a time where we have to be mindful of what's going on around us, and just recently with the uptick of violence, and we've seen globally just all the conflict that's going around or going on around the world, and all the tragedies with hunger and death and disease and everything that is taking place right now. It just serves as a reminder, just with all this, that we need to take that time to center ourselves, and wherever we find ourselves spiritually, right? We need to dig into that and grind into that and make sure we're moving in those spiritual understandings, right? And as a follower of Christ, our understanding is grounded in love, right? So we hate to see hurt and pain and suffering and all this. So this is a time where we go to our space and we pray, and we lift up those, who are in the midst of tragedy, and I've been blessed. We haven't had any flooding, no power outages. We're safe, but we know there are many that are not, right? And then when we look at the whole landscape of what's going on in the world, we know there's much suffering going on. So I'm gonna just lift up these verses, and we'll think about it, and then I'm gonna get out your way, because I've got some more stuff to do this evening. But just a reminder: like, share, subscribe, go to the YouTube page. Let me put that up. These are all the places you can find us: IG at the RCB store, Facebook, the Resource Center Bookstore. Email us at the rcbstore@gmail.com. But I just want to lift up a few verses from Genesis chapter 6, starting at verse 11. And I'm just going to read to 13. So verse 11 says, now the earth, and this is the New Revised Standard Version. Now the earth was corrupt in God's sight, and the earth was filled with violence. And God saw that the earth was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its ways upon the earth. And God said to Noah, I have determined to make an end of all filled with violence, because now I'm going to destroy them along with the earth. And we know this took place, and after the flood, God said he wouldn't do that again. But this came to my mind because I see so much heading back in that direction, back in those corrupt ways through violence, right? Succumbing to the flesh, and the flesh, as we know, is temporary. Uh-oh. Where's my camera? I don't see myself. I hope you can hear me. If not, I didn't lose you. Seems like my connection stalled. But we know he promised those things were happening. But like I was saying, I see us going back in those directions when I look at what is going on in the world, what is happening around us. And it's just that reminder that we must change our ways. We have to overcome the flesh. And we know this flesh is temporary. And those things are temporary, that are temporary are not true, but those things that are everlasting or eternal, those divine things, love, compassion, mercy, right? But this temporary stuff, which is not the truth, right? We can't let that consume us. What comes with the flesh: greed, lust, right? Violence, those things, right? So when we lose sight of our purpose in which we were created, as I always speak to those I preach to, mainly myself, right? Right? We know we were created in God's image and likeness. So if we know this, that means we got to remind ourselves we have a divine purpose here. And we need to get back to those divine characteristics that we attribute to God. And we need to enact those in the earth. When we don't, and we succumb to our own knowledge and thinking we got it all figured out in this human mind and not thinking with the eternal mind, right? It leads to those same things that were happening in the times of Noah. So now we may not see it in a flood, but we do know that there will be judgment for our actions. And if we know that, we need to make sure that we're trying our best to live in righteousness, living a just life. It doesn't mean we don't have flaws or we're going to do everything right. Remember, we talked about the definition of perfect from the Greek versus the Latin, right? Right? But it means fulfilling one's purpose. So understand our purpose in being here, because we made it here for a reason, right? But remember that purpose needs to be connected to the divine principles and the ultimate divine principle, which is love. Amen. I'm gonna leave it there. So I just want to lay that thought with you and just say, as we traverse these times with storm and difficulty and whatever else goes on in our life, just remember that you are here for a purpose. And that purpose is divine. Please connect to it and stick to it and trust, right? Right? There's different paths to get to a place, but as long as we get there, right? Right? Somebody says, Alarm clocks are set at different times. People wake up at different times, but as long as we wake up, right, we can get to that purpose. So I'm gonna leave it there. I want to once again remind everybody that 2 weeks, July 23rd, please catch the special edition with technician the DJ, known from Rock the Bells Radio, versus battles, and DJing for many of our favorite rappers. So shout out to him. I don't have any more. I'm gonna let you go. It's been about 20 minutes. So I just want to thank everybody who tuned in and watched. I love you all. I pray you're safe. And please keep those in mind, lifted up, who are dealing with loss in this time and suffering. All right. So with that, I got to do this one more time. My man, shout out to Amillion, the poet, and my man, A. Zachary Shepard, for the 1 in a million alkaline water. At this right now, I think I get a new order this weekend. So shout out to them. I'm going to share that with you one more time, but it's 1inastore.com. Get the water. The water is great. Water is the basis of life. All right. So drink your water, stay hydrated, or as he says, drink your water and mind your business. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
In a world full of rush, pause for a drink. Pure, clear, and fresh. Let your mind think. In every sip of 1-in-8 alkaline, you'll find a taste so pure, refreshes the mind. With a 9.5 pH, it's balanced just right. Electrolytes to keep you bright. Potassium fuels you every day, keeps you glowing in every way. Drink water and mind your business until it's time to stand on it. 1-in-8 alkaline, the water that keeps you glowing. Let's glow.